Hello, my name is Jiso and I'm reading Three Philosophies and One Reality by Master Nishijima. This is an excellent little book. It's recommended by Brad Warner as a really good, easy to understand introduction to Dogen's philosophy. If you're into Dōgen and you're into Shōbōgenzō, but you're struggling to make sense of it, I really recommend starting there. It's not too long. What have we got? 100 pages-ish, and it's written in a fairly clear conversational style. Anyway, I'm not reading that. I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. And we're on the chapter 61, Kenbutsu, Meeting Buddha. And we've arrived at paragraph 43. Shakyamuni Buddha addresses the Great Assembly. And when living beings with undivided mind desire to meet Buddha without attaching to their own body and life, then I, with many monks, appear together on Vulture Peak. The wholeheartedness, one mind or undivided mind, described here is not the wholeheartedness discussed by the common man, the two vehicles and the like. It is the wholehearted state of meeting Buddha. The wholehearted state of meeting Buddha is Vulture Peak and is the accompanying many monks. When each present individual secretly arouses the desire to meet Buddha, we are desiring to meet Buddha through concentration of the Vulture Peak mind. So the undivided mind is indeed Vulture Peak itself. And how could the undivided body not appear together with the mind? How could the state not be the undivided body-mind together? Just as body and mind are like this already, so too are lifetime and life like this. For this reason, we totally surrender our own self-attachment to the Vulture Peak state of solely attaching to the supreme truth. Thus, the Buddha expresses the state in which I, with many monks, appear together on Vulture Peak as the undivided mind of meeting Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha addresses the Great Assembly. If they preach this sutra, just this is to meet me, the Tathagata, abundant treasures and many transformed Buddhas. The preaching of this sutra is, I am always living at this place, but with mystical powers I make living beings who are upset still fail to see me though I am close. I am always living at this place, but with mystical powers I make living beings who are upset still fail to see me though I am close. That's all the Lotus Sutra, these quotes. This Tathagata state of mystical powers apparent and hidden has the virtue of just this being to meet me and other Buddhas. Shakyamuni Buddha addresses the Great Assembly. One who is able to keep this sutra is already meeting me, and also meeting the Buddha abundant treasures and those Buddhas who are my offshoots. Because to keep this sutra is difficult, the Tathagata constantly encourages it. In the rare event that there is one who keeps this sutra, the state is just meeting Buddha. Clearly, if one is meeting Buddha, one is keeping the sutra, and one who is keeping the sutra is one who is meeting Buddha. This being so, even to hear a single verse or a single line and to receive and retain them is to be able to meet Shakyamuni Buddha, is also to meet the Buddha abundant treasures, is to meet the Buddhas who are offshoots, is to receive the transmission of the treasury of the Buddha Dharma, is to attain the Buddha's right eye, is to be able to experience the Buddha's life, is to attain the eye of the ascendant state of Buddha, is to attain the Buddha's brain and eyes, and is to attain the Buddha's nostrils. The Buddha constellation king of flower wisdom, with voice of thunder, addresses the king resplendent. Remember, great king, A good counselor is the great cause whereby we are educated and guided to be able to meet Buddha and to establish the will to the supreme truth of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. The mats of this great order described now are not yet rolled up. Though we speak of the Buddhas of the past, the present and the future, these past, present and future are not to be equated with the 3 times of the common man. In the Buddha's order, what is called the past is matters in the mind, the present is a fist, and the future is the projections of the brain. This being so, the Buddha constellation king of flower wisdom with voice of thunder is an instance of meeting Buddha realized in the mind. Commonly understood talk of meeting Buddha is like this. Education and guidance is meeting Buddha. Meeting Buddha is establishing the will to Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, and establishment of the Bodhi mind is meeting Buddha, being right in the beginning and right at the end. Shakyamuni Buddha says, beings who practice all the virtues and who are gentle, simple and straight all see my body existing here and preaching the Dharma. What he calls all the virtues is dragging through the mud and staying in the water, or following ripples and chasing waves, common efforts in daily life. Footnote. Those who practice this are called beings who are gentle, simple and straight, as also I am, and as also you are. They have experienced this state of meeting Buddha inside mud, and have experienced this state of meeting Buddha in the waves of mind. Thus they witness the Buddha existing here and preaching the Dharma. On the other hand, in the great kingdom of Sung recently, cronies calling themselves Zen masters are numerous. They do not know the length and breadth of the Buddha Dharma, and their experience is very scant. Barely parroting 2 or 3 sayings of Rinzai or Unmon, they have considered these to be the whole truth of the Buddha Dharma. If the Buddha Dharma could be perfectly expressed by 2 or 3 sayings of Rinzai or Unmon, the Buddha Dharma could not have reached the present day. It is hard to call Rinzai and Unmon venerable in the Buddha Dharma. How much less venerable are the cronies of today who are inferior to Rinzai and Unmon. They are rabble who do not deserve to be mentioned. Because they are too stupid to understand the meaning of the Buddhist sutras for themselves, they randomly insult the Buddhist sutras and neglect to practice and learn them. We should call them flotsam in the stream of non-Buddhism. They are not the children and grandchildren of Buddhist patriarchs. How much less could they arrive at the boundary of the state of meeting Buddhas? They are rabble who cannot even attain the principles of Confucius or Lao Tzu. No child in the house of the Buddhist patriarchs should meet with those cronies who call themselves Zen masters. Just investigate in practice and realize in physical experience the eyes which are the eye of meeting Buddha. My late master Tendo, the eternal Buddha, quotes the following. King Prasenajit asks the Venerable Pindola, I have heard that the Venerable One has intimately met Buddha. Is it true or not? The Venerable One, lifting up an eyebrow with his hand, indicates affirmation. My late master praises Pindola as follows. By lifting an eyebrow, he answers the question in part. He has met Buddha intimately, without any mutual deceit. To this day he deserves offerings from the 4 quarters. Spring is on the plum twigs, embraced by the coldness of snow. We had that in the chapter on plum blossoms, didn't we? This meeting Buddha is neither meeting our own state of Buddha nor meeting the Buddha in others. It is meeting Buddha. Because one branch of plum blossoms meets one branch of plum blossoms, the blooming of flowers is perfectly clear. The point of King Prasenajit's question is to ask whether the Venerable One has already met Buddha and whether he has become Buddha. The Venerable One unequivocally has lifted an eyebrow. It is verification of meeting Buddha, by which no one can be deceived, and to this day it has not ceased. Pindola's deservedness of offerings is apparent without concealment. And yet, we cannot trace his meeting Buddha, which is intimate experience. The meeting Buddha of that master of 300 million is the meeting Buddha of the present. It is beyond seeing the 32 signs. Who could be far from the state of seeing the 32 signs? There may be many types of human beings, gods, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, who do not know this principle of meeting Buddhas. It is similar, for example, when we say that those who stand up a fly whisk are numerous, but those who stand up a fly whisk are not many. Just a footnote there, many set themselves up as Buddha's teachers, but very few really teach Buddhism. To be meeting Buddha is to have been realized by the state of Buddha. Even if the self wishes to conceal it, the state of meeting Buddha has already leaked itself out. This is the principle of meeting Buddha. We should investigate in detail the real features of this lifting an eyebrow, making effort with body minds as numerous as the sands of Ganges. Even if for 100,000 myriad kalpas of days and nights we have constantly lived together with Shakyamuni Buddha, if we lack the ability to lift an eyebrow, the state is not meeting Buddha. Even if, more than 2,000 years on, we are in a remote place more than 100,000 miles away, if we have intimately realized the ability to lift an eyebrow, it is realization of the state of Shakyamuni Buddha that precedes the King of Emptiness. It is realization of one branch of plum blossoms, and it is realization of plum twigs as spring. This being so, intimate experience of meeting Buddha is the performance of 3 prostrations, joining hands and bowing, a face breaking into a smile, a fist emitting a thunderclap, and crossed legs sitting on a round cushion. The Venerable Pindola goes to a great gathering at the palace of King Ashoka for a midday meal. After distributing incense, the king does prostrations and asks the Venerable One, "I have heard that the Venerable One has intimately met Buddha. Is it true or not?" The Venerable One brushes up his eyebrow with his hand and says, "Do you understand?" The king says, "I do not understand." The Venerable One says, "When the Dragon King Anavatapta invited Buddha to a midday meal, I was also admitted among that number." The point of King Ashoka's question is that the words, "Is it true that the Venerable One has intimately met Buddha?" ask whether the Venerable One is already the Venerable One. Then the Venerable One at once brushes up his eyebrow. This causes the state of meeting Buddha to appear in the world. It causes act of becoming Buddha to be intimately experienced. He says, "When the Dragon King Anavatapta invited Buddha to a midday meal, I was also admitted among that number." Remember, in a gathering of Buddhas, Buddhas alone together with Buddhas may be as abundant as rice, hemp, bamboo and reeds. But Shravakas of the 4th effect and Pratyeka Buddhas cannot be admitted. Even if Shravakas of the 4th effect and Pratyeka Buddhas have come, we cannot count them among the number of Buddhas. The Venerable One himself has already declared, "When Buddha was invited to a midday meal, I also was among that number." A natural self-expression which has emerged freely. The fact that he is meeting Buddha is evident. Inviting Buddha means not only inviting Shakyamuni Buddha, but inviting all the countless and limitless Buddhas of the 3 times and the 10 directions. To be included in the number of invited Buddhas is the state without hesitation and the state beyond hesitation of intimate experience of meeting Buddha. Indication of meeting Buddha, of meeting a teacher, of meeting myself, and of meeting you in general should be like this. The Dragon King Anavatapta is the Dragon King of Anavatapta Lake. Anavatapta Lake is called in this country the Lake of No Suffering from Heat. Zen Master Honai Ninyu praises Pindola as follows. Our Buddha intimately met with Pindola, whose eyebrows were long, hair short, and eyes rough. Even King Ashoka doubted him. Om Mani Shri Shurya. This eulogy is not perfect in its expression, but I quote it because it is relevant research. Great Master Shinsai of Joshu, the story goes, is asked by a monk, I have heard that you intimately met Nansen. Is it true or not? The master says, Chinshu district produces big radishes. This expression realized now is verification of intimately meeting Nansen. It is neither words that say something nor words that say nothing. It is neither words bestowed from above nor words of common parlance. It is neither the lifting of eyebrows nor the brushing up of eyebrows. It is intimate meeting with Nansen's eyebrows. Even though Joshu was an individual of outstanding talent, without intimately meeting Nansen, he could not be like this. The story of the big radishes produced in Chinshu is an account of the time when Great Master Shinsai was the abbot of Shinsain Temple in Tokaen Gardens in Chinshu. He was later given the title Great Master Shinsai. Because he was like this, he received the authentic transmission of the Buddhist patriarch's right Dharma eye treasury from his first opening in experience of the eye of meeting Buddha. When the authentic transmission of the right Dharma eye treasury is present, the dignified behavior is realized of a Buddha manifesting an easy bearing, and the state of meeting Buddha at this place is towering and magnificent. Shōbōgenzō Kenbutsu, preached to the assembly on Mount Yamashibu on the 1st and the 9th days of the 11th lunar month in the winter of the first year of Kangen 1243. Lovely. Thanks for listening. Do take care.